Hi, Lisa Schermerhorn here, and you're on my show Where Truth Lies. And Barry Fisher, as a dear friend and fellow, I don't know, we were just down at Sasha Stone's event down in Tennessee, and we met this beautiful soul. Julian Omar, and we want to tell you a little story and talk about his journey because he's quite incredible. And it all started in a coffee shop in the middle of Rogersville, Tennessee. So Barry was the one. I spotted Julian, and I said I noticed you, and then I went to the car and was with a friend, Christine, waiting for Barry to come out with her coffee, and she showed up with you.
Yeah.
So
Thank God.
I know. So Barry, talk to me about what happened.
Sure. Well, Lisa and I, like she said, we were in the coffee shop, and then I had to go back in to pick up something else, my coffee. And I was in there, and we had noticed Julian. You take a look at him, right? So, we were looking at him, and then I was at the coffee shop getting my coffee, and I turned around, and Julian was right there, and we kind of smiled at each other, and then he said, "Hey, I really like your boots. I have some very groovy boots." And I actually almost lost one. And
Oh,
then and then I had a bracelet on, and he liked that and said, "Hey, I like your style." And I said, "So what's up with you? Like, what are you doing?" Because a super kind soul. And I wanted to know more about him. And he said, "I am walking with a cross from Texas to Washington, D.C. for God and for love." And it was just like, oh my gosh, we are at Sasha Stone's New Earth Tanasi and in Tennessee. And oh my gosh. And I said, "Hey, can you wait for me in the other room?" Because I didn't want him to leave. He waited in the other room. I went up to him, I think gave him a big hug, and I said, "This is something that you might need to hear about." And so I told him about what we were doing. And we walked outside, and I had Lisa and Christine talk to him. And then I was just like, "Hey, what do you think? Let's do this." And I said, and he said, "Yep, let's go." And we both got in the car, and we were in the back seat, and Lisa and Christine were going. And oh my gosh, and everything that he said on the car ride, I just said, we are all about to change our lives here. And we needed you on this journey. And I'm so grateful that you
Yes.
came along, because you brightened everybody's light there, and as you will continue. So please,
thank you.
So,
yes, we love
so
you.
I'd love for people to know a little bit about you and your journey because, I mean,
Yes.
this was a no small feat. I mean, you've come from a
Yeah.
different life to
Yeah.
do this walk. So you've been walking from Dallas. So, yeah, I'd love everyone to hear your mission and what this is all about.
This is about just walking in the truth and the truth that set me, the truth that I came to being. It all started with three main questions is who am I as a human being? Right? What is my purpose here on this earth is the second question. And the third one is a question that has been asked since I want to say as far long as you can think. But it's the question that says, who is God? What is God? These are very important questions that if you don't ask these types of questions in your life, then you could go and live your whole life being disconnected from the divine spirit that we all have within us. It's the spirit without limits. They talk about it in almost any religion. It's in all different types of philosophy. It's very, very, it's wide and spread out, but few that are chosen to, ask these questions really, take that action behind the faith to find the truth out, right?
Mhm.
And so with that being said, these questions had brought me to know a lot about, energy, a lot about, the opposites, the polarities of the universe, different laws and different, books and scriptures where when I started studying, the Bibles, I didn't go to a church, and I didn't find God through, going to a church. I knew about churches. I've gone inside of churches, but I really wanted to find out how I could build a relationship with God, to know God more on an intimate level and to have a walk with God. And these are the things that ultimately led up to me walking with the cross from Dallas. I would have started it wherever I was from. I was just there and I seen, the part of fear, the fear, that had been around me my whole life, that is around a lot of people's lives, that keep them or prevent them from thinking that they could do such things as not only like this, but anything. It could grasp them from anything. Lisa, I mean, if you allowed fear to hold you back, I mean, you wouldn't have been a best-selling author. You wouldn't have, I could talk to Barrie, if you followed the fear, you wouldn't have been so, just beautiful at the creative art that you do, creating pictures and gathering moments together and locking them in and sharing such beautiful things. So I look at this as my book writing, or as my photography taking, is my action taking behind what I believe that, what, we all have a strong spirit inside of us, and it's the way we express it. The way we find the truth within ourselves is to understand what we're dealing with. And we deal with a lot of created creations out here that are good and bad. Just like we have to make decisions every day. You know, um, we have to really decipher and see what is feeding my spirit or what is depriving me from it, right?
Well, you
What?
came from
Yes.
something, right? So for people to understand, you weren't born with this.
No,
You went through another, so I'd love for people to have an understanding of where you come from, your heritage, how your people have been treated,
yes.
and what led you down this to really search your soul.
Of course, yes. And so this search got from, a lot of disconnected roots down to who, the basic question is who I am as a human being. I had to find out where I was from and who my people are. We long to be accepted or felt important with our messages or who we are. And my I I'm from the Kickapoo tribe in Eagle Pass, Texas, where I hadn't set foot in there for many years since I was a child because of early trauma dealing with you know alcohol and drugs that were put out here for people to use, or and it's such an abundance out here, which if you don't have control over these things, they can really poison your mind. It could poison communities, and it could get you to not understand that with a lot of these things that are happening, you have to pull yourself out, and the way I found myself to be disconnected from my tribe, which is, with the Kickapoo tribe and all that, I had to go back and do some research. We're in the age of AI. We're in the age of information. There's so much books and things that we could ask to find some truth in our life, where when I started feeling a disattachment is when I started getting closer to myself, when I started accepting things that I didn't understand instead of beating myself up about it. Like, why didn't I understand this? And now I had to deal with certain things in life that were happening as far as bad things, right? Because I made bad choices in a time that I didn't understand. So I had to go through seasons of learning. And, one of the things I had to do was take my back to see who we were as people. And people in a tribe, that would get together and go hunt. They would gather 5 or 6 of the strongest people in the tribe, and they will go hunt for food. They will go gather things. They would go do whatever it took to make themselves feel, like they were blessed. A lot of people in this world today, they don't see miracles or they don't see the spirit working through in their life because they're not applying the things, right? They're waiting for things to come to them, but it's not really until you take action and you put yourself out there and you believe in these things that you want, is where you truly. So me going back to finding out who I was as a people, and finding out who we are as people, you have to really dig deep. It's a deep above the surface level
Right.
thing. It ties into, different energy, it ties into the quantum, it ties into, spiritual. Everything is interconnected in some way, shape, or form, where the animals in our life could be seen as brothers and sisters of this earth, right?
Right.
Because we share a part of the land, or we share a part of the air. And so, I had to really, really just do a lot of knowledge digging.
Right.
Where,
But I have a
yes,
question for you because we talked a little bit when I saw you about your tribe and what's happened to it. Because it's one thing to live on a reservation,
yeah.
but how much of the wisdom from the elders has actually been passed down versus your life has now become part of, I think you said there's a whatchamacallit, you have a w- where you have the gambling down there. You have a
Oh, yeah,
casino.
it's
So there's a
become, yeah.
casino.
There's-
So you all have your land and the reservation, but what did they leave you with? What's happened to your people?
Well, a lot of what's happened to the people is, with these things that have entered and seeped in, which is entertainment and, alcohol, drugs. A lot of these things will distract you in the sense of thinking that material things is more important than spiritual things, right? Or chasing the high of a drug, or the drunkenness of the alcohol will cause more of satisfaction than taking all of that away and depending solely on God or source, or the great spirit to come into your life and move and direct you in things that you could see. It's all about faith taking. So exactly what's happening inside of not only the Kickapoo reservation and a lot of reservations is they put these things, and then the poison of the worldly things starts happening, which is comparison, strife towards our neighbors, just not really wanting one another to grow and to, like the Bible says, to mount up on the wings of eagles and soar past all these small things that the world has created. So you're dealing with the worldly creations that are created by, of course, human beings, but some are good and some are bad. And so you got to decipher what is infiltrating the minds of people, and why aren't they coming together and being very strong as people? And you know what? This is why, not being accepted because of my beliefs, and because of, trying to gather these questions together. It's kind of like, to other people that see me doing this, it goes against other people's limited beliefs. So then it becomes I'm doing the wrong thing because I'm not doing it the way they think of doing it. Instead of saying, hey, let's encourage each other to try to get stronger, to get to the root of the problem, so that we could, see more prosperous life happening, see God working through, the people, and see communities change surely. So whatever's happening in the world is also happening in the reservation. So it's not that much different from being in a big city, or a city that is, has accessible things to do wrong. And so, we're limited on information to be able to understand. And everyone there is just like, religion has set in to a lot of reservations, where religion as well could limit you to the connection to source if you're not able to understand, and you want to put yourself in a category that doesn't let you see love for one another. Because me in a reservation, and what I believe in is peace for all nations. This is what this flag carries, because I think besides just Native Americans or any other person should be coming together and going and understanding together. loving and
Yeah.
harmony together.
So what was the moment, because you got wrapped up in a difficult time with drugs and alcohol. I saw it
Yes,
and it's on your TikTok account, which I'm going to share with people.
of
What was the
course.
moment that finally made you say, I can't do this anymore? What changed you?
Ooh, okay. What changed me is I started, having inflammation in my body, and my body was reacting to all the unhealthy choices that I was doing with drugs and alcohol. And, and not even that alone. I'm talking about what I was feeding my mind, how powerful music can be. If you're listening to the wrong music that's talking about depression, anxiety, all these things are going into your mind, and it's rewiring your mind to think depressed, to
Yep.
think anxiety, and you wake up and your heart is racing, or you keep thinking about moments of the past that hurt you because this music is bringing up past repetitive things. A lot of the people, they have to know what you listen to, what you watch, what you speak. It all comes from a place of what you're inputting. See, your output is your input. What you input is very important to understand that, what, if you're having a hard time to show love to people or to encourage others, it's probably because you're not watching enough things that are motivating you to come out here and stay disciplined in love. A lot of people go search for love and they're waiting for somebody, oh, that somebody is gonna, I can't wait to get with this person, or if I get with this person, it's gonna make me feel happy. But you gotta have joy right now. You have to know that love comes from within you, that if no one around you is showing love, that you have it in you to show love, even if no one does it, because wrong is wrong, even if everyone's doing it, and right is right, even if nobody does it. So it doesn't matter. We're holding ourselves to the highest standard, saying, you know what? I have it in me to come out here and show love to people, by carrying a cross and having a deep message that can bring people together instead of tearing people apart. That is what the world wants. It wants people to go against each other and not come together in harmony. And these are just, and that's just fundamental, you know?
Right. And you also felt very alone in talking to you, that you didn't have other people of like mind. So this
Yes.
opportunity to be with all the people, and Barry, I'd love for you to talk to, what it was like to see Julian show up and actually come up on stage, and see him get up there and speak and see him
Uh,
really open up.
well, um, it was just it was just magical because I knew the second that you told me that when we were in the restaurant and you said, I'm with the cross for God and for humanity and for bringing love. I just knew that this was, you were right in the right spot. And we were all, because I hadn't been to Sasha's New Earth because it was the whole thing. And, this is one of the years, the second year that they've had it. And, bringing on the golden ticket owners. And I just knew when you were in the car that I even said that this is going to change not only your life, but all of our lives.
Right.
And then we got there and I saw how everyone was so excited to see you. And you gave me that fabulous hat that I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
believe I don't have with me. It was a quick interview. So anyway, it's still packed.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then I just knew in my heart of hearts that you were going to be on that stage. I just knew it.
Wow.
And then I found out on Saturday that you were going to be on the stage and you just lit up the room, Lisa, Michelle, and you with that time. And it was just so beautiful to see you walk down that aisle
With your
with such
cross, with the
the
Yeah.
cross,
cross. That's what I
and then
mean, with
get
the
up
cross
there
and
on
such
the
assuredness.
stage.
And
Yeah.
he was so sure, and that the message that you gave was very powerful. And I just know that you're going to continue to do this, and you are very held and very seen and very loved with all of us. And I know you're taking that to the world and
Yeah.
to
Of
humanity.
course.
And I really, really am very appreciative of you. So thank you. I love
Because
you.
you know what, you're right. Religion has nothing to do with it. And the cross itself, I mean, you don't have to be Christian. It's not, there are people of all different faiths. It's the message of love and peace. And
Yes.
the cross is really, to me, representing the burdens that people need to let
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And, how many miles? I mean, you've literally, I'd love for you to talk about what it's been like to walk. I mean, that you have, and just so people know, you've got a pack with your, sleeping bag and
Yes.
your tent and your clothes and that you've got what, about 100 pounds that you're carrying?
Yeah, I got about 100 pounds. We got the cross, and my pack is right here, as you can see, which is I want to say a 55 milliliter bag with a tent, a sleeping bag, and just basic essentials. I do have a few books in there, Native American books, Bible, and just things that are gonna make my mind feel refreshed after reading it, right? Because
Yeah.
um, it's very important to stay grounded and know that there's great things out there. This is how I look at it. I've traveled already probably 1,000 miles walking, and throughout this journey, there's been so many divine appointments. And this is why I tell people with the most urgency I can that your voice matters, that don't hold back, that you can be open and vulnerable to the people that need to see that they don't have to hold things in, or hold any fear or shame or guilt, because they didn't know that life is so beautiful when you just release the guilt, the shame, the comparison, anything that I'm telling this to the people because they know. As soon as you tell them, hey, you know what you need to do, that just go ahead and do it. And don't look back, and do it a lot, and be courage about it. Know that you're powerful, and know that the truth sets you free. It really does. And true freedom and walking in victory is so beautiful. And that is what I've gotten through this journey, is that walking in freedom is a beautiful thing, because you don't need to live in fear. You need to have faith. And you just have to trust that the person that you were crafted to be will get there. No matter what, be like a anticipating child that is waiting for something every day, and that will show up.
Yeah.
Really.
So who has come along during this 1,000 mile journey to help you? I mean, you haven't asked for anything, yet people show up and have helped you. So I'd love for you to share some of your stories on your journey of people
Oh
you've
yeah.
met.
So I'm gonna tell you about the people that I've met through spirit and through just the videos alone. There's been people that have messaged me and that look forward to videos daily, and that are looking, and that, what, when I first started my social media, I wasn't taking it serious, because I was like, man, this stuff you got to post every day, and you got to be on top of it. And since I got one message one time when I did a video, I was in a I was in a graveyard, and I was like, look, guys, this is what's promised to us. This is what the world is saying, that, in 100 years, we all laying down in here. I'm like, but man, when are we going to really be honest with ourselves and come live, you know, live, like truly live, not being afraid of death, because death is whispering every day, but you don't want to die to the spirit. You don't want to die and feel like you can't live, or you can't go out and do the things that you want. So, you know, this journey has brought me people that helped me just by them saying, "Hey, Julian, I just needed to hear that. I needed to see that." That's why I say it's so important for you to get the words that you need to say, or uplift people, even if it's the small things, because I've seen these small seeds grow into nourishing plants. Where along this journey, there's people that are motivating themselves just off of just you sharing and being courageous. It's like, wow, what's the difference between me and this man? There's no difference. The only difference is that I wanted to do it, and I said, I'm not gonna let nothing stop me from knowing the truth, from
Right.
growing, from
But you
loving.
but
Yeah.
you've also had a lot of kindness from strangers along the way.
Yes, I've had kindness from strangers that have, stopped, and they've helped me with food. Like I didn't leave with no food, right? Or water or anything. I didn't even leave with any money. And when I left, people would stop. And I just saw the abundance that America has. This is not a place where, that you will not think that you cannot thrive when it is rich. It has a lot of there's a lot of things out here. And so people, if they see you being courageous and they see you standing up for something good, a lot of people stop and they don't know that they have it in them to do the same thing. But a lot of people, they don't think that they have the time because they've already grown families and they got bills, which is fine. So they'll stop and they'll be like, man, hey, you're encouraging me. And I just want to bless you because of what you're doing. Like they
Yeah.
just want to help out because it's something. I've had war veterans that have stopped and said, "Hey, man, if I was fit and I was healthy, I would follow right behind you because it's such a great thing what you're doing, and it's just, you know, it inspires people." And I get inspired by meeting people, seeing that there is love out here, people that do want to help others and encourage others to continue going on this travel. So I've met people that have given me food, that have given me money, or even have helped me with hotel rooms when it's raining, so, and it's brought me this far, and it just completely took out any doubt in my mind that, what, that I wouldn't go, that I wouldn't die out here.
No,
I
it's
wouldn't starve out here.
amazing. And the other thing is, we got a chance to meet your mother. You showed up at
Oh,
the
yeah.
at Sasha's event, and for people who don't know, Sasha Stone, who's really incredible visionary,
Yes.
he's creating this self-sustaining community in Northeast Tennessee. And this was their ribbon cutting for people who had invested in this land and were picking out their plots and had speakers come. And it was an incredible opportunity with music and food and dancing and all kinds of really cool things. And Julian contacted his mom, and I think she said she hadn't seen you since what, February?
Yeah, it's
When
been
you
February.
started. So she flew in, we got to meet her. What a beautiful soul. And she told me
Oh,
something really impactful. Well, two things. Because she said that people were saying, aren't you afraid for Julian? And she said, you know what? I was more afraid before when he was on his other path, when you were
yeah,
doing things that were very self-destructive. She
of
said, but
course.
I know that he's found his purpose and he's living it. And I know that God is watching over him because he's doing God's work. So I'm not afraid anymore. And that just gave me the chills. And as a mother, also, that feeling of when your children are really stepping into their power and really doing what they're meant to. And I was talking to her also about her heritage, and she was saying how she didn't know that she was Native American. Everyone kept
Yeah,
looking at her and saying, um, what tribe are you from? And she's, what are you talking about? And she's like, no, no, no. What tribe are you from? Because everyone could see her essence in her, but she never saw it.
yeah,
Did some research and said, I found out I'm Apache.
yes,
He had been completely disconnected from who she was as
yeah,
well.
definitely. She had been, and along this journey, a lot of, what really baffles me is that, the only way I was able to know about the Kickapoo is because my father's from the Kickapoo. My mom, we found this news out recently that she was from, you know, Apache. And so we're like over here, like, wow, so we have more, we're so confused in life about who we were that I grew up with people thinking I was Mexican, which I do want to say I have portion of Mexican in me because of the natives from Kickapoo. They have a lot of Mexican blood in them. It's right there by the border of Mexico, and they even share Kickapoo, natives in Mexico and Piedras Negras and Coahuila. So they do have natives down there that have, so I want to say that, growing up, a lot of people just thought I was a part of the Mexican culture because there's so many of them, right? There's so
Right.
many Hispanic people that come to this country for whatever it may be, learning, work. I mean, you name it. My dad would even go migrate up north with the Hispanics to go and make money. And, that's how he met my mom up north. And me and my brother were even born in Idaho before we went back to the reservation, back to Eagle Pass, Texas. And ultimately that's where my dad, passed away. And it was just family things that caused us to leave. And my mom left. And my mom had been hurt by, you know, um, her trauma when she was a child in Idaho, because that's where her family lives. And so there was a lot of disconnect from family and importance. And so we grew up not with no religion, really, just
No.
with whatever we were told. And in my spirit, I knew since I was a child that something was wrong, that I felt like I wasn't supposed to be in this places that I was put. But I had to, it wasn't until later really taking away all the things and trying, trying, and just until it worked, until it clicked. I didn't know what it was doing. The easiest way I could tell anybody if they're hurting and they're finding, with what you're presented with is enough. Whether it's just you waking up in the day and wanting to start going out and getting some sun and start giving gratitude out and saying thank you for everything, even your problems, because most of the life's lessons turn into blessings. And so that is a very big thing, is waking up and being grateful. I used to practice being grateful and complimenting people. I used to make it a sole thing to feed the homeless because I wanted to care about others, instead of myself. So I'm like, how can I do this? Well, you know what? A thought after detoxing and everything, I started going to Walmart and Kroger's and just complimenting every single worker that was working it, from the mailman to the UPS man dropping a package. I'll say, hey, y'all are doing a great job today. I just wanted you to know. And I did it so much so that it became a part of who I am. So we care about human beings. We care about those, and we hang on to those that love us, because it's a beautiful thing. And you know what? Being there at the Tanasi and with the New Earth event and it felt like I found the tribe, surely because of how everyone was able, they had the ability to love one another beyond what beliefs are, beyond. And that showed me the true love of God. And I was like, wow, so many people coming together with different nations, tongues, and beliefs, but everyone wants the same thing. They want peace, they want love, they want happiness. I'm like, this is truly a miracle, and it's an answered prayer to be there.
No, absolutely. I feel that. And so many of us have been put in the situation, more so with the Native American. And even when you talk about the Latinos coming from Mexico, they all
Yes,
have Mayan and Aztec and all of those. They're all indigenous.
yes, they're all
So they were
indigenous.
all indigenous anyway. And so they were, oh, there she's got your hat on.
Ah, let's go.
Peace.
Peace.
I love
Um,
it.
Yes.
It
so
reminds
the
Ah,
me of the
yes.
moments. It reminds me of all the love in the moments. Thank you
Oh,
so
yeah,
yeah.
much.
yeah.
Most definitely.
So they're all indigenous, but there was an intention to make people forget. I was in Costa Rica with a tribe down in near the Panama border, and I was told the story by the grandmother that they were forced to kneel on gravel if they spoke their language.
Wow.
And hours as a little girl. His grandmother would tell this story how they literally had tortured their background, who they were, to forget. And so this was done to so many people to forget. And what you've done is, we inherit the trauma, right? Because this has come down through the lineage. And I don't care
Yeah.
what background you have, whether you're indigenous or whatever your background, even coming into the United States, people don't just move to a new language, new culture, new country, thousands of miles with just everything on their back just for the heck of it. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe a few people who do that, but for the most part, these people all experience trauma. And so coming into this country and the beauty of everyone coming together and finding each other. You're the perfect example of that, and how we are leading this message. You are leading this message of getting people to come together. Forget about skin color, forget about your trauma. We're all here to love, because a
Yeah.
lot of people who've experienced trauma are projecting their anger and fear and
Yeah.
see the world through a different lens. It takes a lot of courage and bravery to do the work to see the world through love.
Exactly. No. And you know what? I wanted to share with you this. I think it's important for people to know that with this cross and with me finding my identity and finding who I am, we're able to walk the trail of tears that were walked hundreds of years ago, you know, um, with a lot of, tribes that were being forced to leave their land. We were able to walk with the cross and heal some
Yes.
of that walk, right? By walking with it with purpose, walking it with freedom and victory. So we don't hold on to these traumatic things that, we might have endured at one time. So it was beautiful to reflect on that, because at the moment I didn't even realize that was happening at the time until somebody pointed it out. So
Wow. Well, I know you still have quite a few miles to go from
yeah.
Virginia to DC, hoping to get there by July 4th and with
Yes.
your cross. If people want to come and see you,
Yeah.
can they connect to you through TikTok? Is that the best way, and find out
With a
where
Yeah,
you're
big
going to
cross.
be to greet you with your cross?
Yes, they can. They could connect to me through TikTok, or if y'all are going to be celebrating the 250th anniversary, where they're going to hold the world's largest fireworks show, which I believe I read it was going to be 40 minutes long. Um, we're going to be there just thanking and be giving thanks and just getting together with, there's some family from the New Earth family that said that they will go over there. And I don't know, I might have heard that you might have is it true that you're gonna come too,
I'm thinking about
I'm
it.
not.
Barry?
Barry's thinking about it. We'll see if she makes
Okay.
it down there.
We got to
Yeah,
do
I
some
know.
photos of you guys there. I mean, come on. I
I
mean,
mean, honestly, if you were to get some photos there, I know that they would be so beautiful, but it's really up to you. I mean, um the only way I saw it is like it's I don't know what to expect when I get there, but I do know one thing though, that the great good energy, the holiness that we carry inside of us, and the peace and love will be there. And it's anywhere we choose to go, and whether that be Washington D.C. or New York City or California or different countries, everywhere we go, we carry the love with us, and we just want to let people know, and so that they could start their, the other piece to the ripple effect, and they could influence and help the other people that need so being. When I look at it, I have so much love for people, and there was a time when I wish somebody would have came and showed me these things and encouraged me these things, and just tell me something. But you know what? We live in a world nowadays where people, they're just, caught up in their mind that they can't really think about others, or they don't really have empathy as much as they should. But just because of the distracting world. So that's why I want to just come out here and do this and let people know that, hey, if you're looking for something, or if you're trying to find some truth, or if you're trying to find some happiness, there's a way to do it. There truly is a way, regardless of what anybody's going through. There's a way to overcome whatever they feel like is in front of them, and it all starts with you know, just loving yourself more,
Yeah.
and just understanding that when we were born, and when you're children, and then you're a teenager, and then up to you're an adult, you're using everything that you learned as a young child and a teenager, and sometimes we have to go and fix programs that were downloaded into our mind by
Yeah.
from whatever it is that was going on,
Yeah.
so. But
Well, what's the best way for people? What's the name of your TikTok channel?
so my TikTok is Believe Julian. And it's not for you guys to believe me. It was a question to myself. believe, Julian. It was me telling myself to believe, Julian. So that's how it started. Because a lot of people are like, "Hey, well, you want us to believe you?" I'm like, "You can believe what you want, but it was for me to believe myself because what I was sharing, I knew that it was important, and there was a time when I didn't know what this TikTok channel was gonna do, but we've gone viral on warrior chants to persevere, on last stretches of walking where I was walking uphill and I didn't know if I was gonna get done with it with walking that day. So we started chanting, and by that energy being, you know, I was able to just gather more than just making it to the mark, but other people were able to witness it and it resonated with them because it was through the spirit. I was chanting and I was praising through the spirit. I wasn't letting anything hold me back and I was being authentic. So when you're being authentic and true is the best way to go about life. Just be the person that you were born to be and show love a lot, wish well upon others. And you know what? You will see the world around you change.
Well,
The
Julian, I want to thank you. I don't want to hold you up too much longer. Barry,
Yeah.
do you have anything you want to
I
say before
do.
we
I'd
head
like to
out?
share a couple of the moments with all of
Yes.
us, and I have a few
Yeah.
photos of
I'm going to
Julian.
put them in at the end. I'm going to
Oh,
add them.
do you have
Yeah.
a lot of these?
No, I don't. I was going to ask you for them, but these are some photos that you took, but I'm going to add them at the end so we'll have some of the photos that you took of him.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
there were so many beautiful
There were some
photos.
really beautiful. You can't really see them, Barry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we won't do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I'm
cool.
gonna put them in at the end. I'll edit them in so that people will be able to see
This
your
one you could
work.
see, I bet.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's a
Have
great
you seen
shot.
that one yet? That was when you were on the
No.
ladder helping me.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't
I
see
was
that
like,
one. That was
wait.
beautiful.
And can I show one of you and your mom?
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
This is Julian's beautiful mom.
yeah.
And she showed up. I mean, how beautiful was that?
Oh, that was
Wow.
amazing. That was a true miracle itself. And everyone got to witness it.
It
Yep.
was. And then the last one, can I just show this one?
Yeah, of course.
Look at his
That's
head is
amazing.
Oh, wow.
with the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Oh,
got a lot of great ones. And boy, did we meet a lot of amazing people and how we all connected and
oh, yeah.
beautiful, just the times. It was just
Yeah.
something to beholden.
All
So
right. Well, Julian, we're going to have
thank
people
you.
looking out for you at DC, and I don't want to hold you up anymore. And you got a lot more miles to go. But
Yes,
I want to thank you again. I'm
Thank
so
you.
honored to have met you and be part of this journey, and
of course.
wishing you lots of love and luck on your trip.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you too, Barry. I love both of you all so much, and I
Ah,
miss y'all already.
I
We
But
feel the
know.
same. We feel
Well,
the
if you
same.
decide you want to make your way up to Vermont, we'd love to have you.
yeah, well, I'll go up to Vermont. Yeah, that's not too far. Maybe a couple hundred miles.
Well, if you meet anybody who has a car that can drive you I might
Uh,
be in DC. You never know.
All
yeah,
right.
you never know. I mean, honestly, I plan to do a few different journeys because I do have my brother and sisters that I like to show. I know I know I will be blessed with the van to be able to travel a lot faster, to different events, or to be able to truly see life. I mean, walking is a whole nother level, but my actual plans for the future would be able to show up to as many events and places with people to encourage them, and also walk different places with the cross, even
Right.
with the van being able to be used to, for different reasons, right? Besides
Right.
shelter and stuff. But I mean, all I can say is the best is yet to come.
Well, you know what? If people want to donate and help you on your journey at all, is there a way for people to get you any funds?
Sure. You know what? Whenever we talk about funds and stuff, I always tell people, you know what? If you're gonna give from the kindness of your heart and be a cheerful giver because you will get returned in fold. It's just the laws that are put out here. But yes, if people wanted to donate, I do have a Cash App. The only thing that I have out here, and my Cash App is the same as my TikTok. It's Believe Julian. And
Okay.
if they
So
wanted
I'll
to
get
donate,
those
they can.
links. I'll get those links from you and I'll put them in there. And so if people want to make some donations, they can do that to help you on your journey.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate you.
Of course. We appreciate you. All right. Keep us posted. Let us know how you're doing on your journey and excited to hear about you in DC. We'll stay in
Yeah.
touch.
Of course, yes. Thank you. And for everyone watching, thank you. We love you. Keep going. Stay strong. And no, 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 that the best is yet to come. Let's go.
Let's go.